Hello, welcome, gorgeous beings of light. This is Elmara coming to you with 100 Miracles in 100 Days project, plus the fifth dimension activation and effortless manifesting. We're at miracle number 49, nearly halfway there. So let's begin by taking a deep, long, slow belly breath in, or it can be a soft, gentle breath. Whatever works for you, following the breath in through the nose and then out through the mouth. Letting go of everything that's outside this moment. It's been a spectacular Sunday morning here. And I'm not sure if you'll hear all those birds singing, but they've been particularly delightful as always. We want you to return your breath to in through the nose and out through the nose. Once you feel your awareness has returned within you, and then only breathe out through the mouth if you're releasing. If you're new to this today, the trick is to just focus on your breath, coming in through the nose and out through the nose, and releasing anything that might come up as you listen actively if you can. Some people fall asleep, that's okay. That's when deep healing is taking place. Some people get cranky with how much I talk. That's excellent because that's just your anger and stuff coming to the surface. And I thought today I've got a really awesome miracle that kind of follows on with the theme from yesterday, in that we ask for something, or the last few days actually, and get something different that's better, but we may not realize it's better to after we didn't get what we wanted. So take a big breath in, letting go. And I thought because there is just so much happening on Earth, so many powerful, deeper levels of light and source life opening up, and so many powerful spiritual people are in trouble, and they're in trouble because they're still playing around in 3D. And I've had to actively monitor myself and make sure that I stay in 5D and see where the ego is trickily trying to bring me back down into that old 3D stuff, and I've had to be really on my guard. But as I've been able to maintain 5D and keep going higher, there is some exquisite levels of light. And I can tell you that if you're a powerful spiritual person and you've got stuff going on, and usually that stuff is showing up as health stuff, heart attacks, pneumonia, whatever, it doesn't matter if you're not in a state of peace and calm in your body. It is because these higher frequencies are coming in and they're pushing this poop up. But I can assure you that if you get into connecting to the higher realms every day, regularly, then the stuff is dissolved when you get up there before it turns into a big drama in your body. That I know for true, because I've just done similar myself, although I was meditating every day because I've been doing these. I wasn't necessarily going higher, and so I began to get some stuff going on in my body. But as soon as I took my awareness higher, went into deeper realms of source light, then a lot of it disappeared, and all of this love, extraordinary love, has returned to my heart. So I thought, in case anyone lands here today, we're going to do a very, very quick awareness activation, which we did in the very beginning. If this doesn't make sense to you, or you want to know more about it, please go back to the very first activation we did. And then we're going to do the first step of my fifth dimension activation. Then we'll tell today's miracle. And if you want to know more about the becoming a powerful fifth dimension activator, you'll find the address below, and you can contact us through our website, www.elmaraseraphim with an m.com, and we'll have a discovery session to see if it might be the next step for you. So connecting to the fifth dimension is the way to go. If you get stuck in the third dimension, you'll get stuck in all the crap that's happening on Earth for another 1,000 or 2,000 years, and that's certainly not what's going to be happening to me. It would serve you well to bring your energy up into the fifth and try and stay there, no matter what appears to be happening on the outside or in the outside world. All right, so just bring your awareness into your body. This is going to sound weird if you're new here today, but just go along with it and go back and listen to the very first one if you want more info on it. So bring your awareness into your body. All of the stories about your body, height, weight, shape, skin color, eye color, hair color, everything. Toss it all out the window and breathe. See if you can have a sense of peace without all that guff going on about your body and what you should look like and what you shouldn't look like, etc., etc. Breathe in. This time I want you to throw everything to do with your identity as you breathe out. Out the window, out the door, into another room if it's freezing cold where you are. We're going to go quite quickly through these. Now breathe in. Bring your awareness into all of your feelings and emotions and opinions, and toss them out the window as you breathe out or out the door. Bring your awareness into all of your thoughts, your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind. Toss them out the window, out the door as you breathe out. Just take a moment here, just to see if you don't feel lighter without some of that 1% of you lifted off, because you're 99% untapped, pure potential, pure good source. Now please bring your awareness into your heart, your beautiful, beautiful heart. And all heartbreak, heartache and heart walls, anything that's stopping you from experiencing pure love, toss that out the window as well. And anything else that's out of alignment with the infinite wealth and abundance that is your birthright and that exists underneath the 1% physicality. So all lack and limitation, all poverty consciousness, all scarcity and struggle, toss them all out the window and breathe, or out the door. Now bring your awareness into all of the shame and blame and pain and suffering, and toss them out the window, out the door as well. And then bring your awareness into all of the fear and anger and rage, and toss them out the window, out the door as well. And breathe. And then anything else that you know of that's within your being, because otherwise you could just go on focusing on all of that. And the point of this exercise is to focus on the 99% untapped, pure potential, pure God source. But if you have any labels like bipolar, Asperger's, autism, ADHD, toss all those out the window and out the door as well. Along with any jealousy or envy or depression or sadness or schizophrenia or any of those millions of labels that people are given, toss them out the door and out the window and just breathe. Keep your awareness within and see if you don't feel lighter without carting all of that stuff around. We have been so perfectly trained to focus 99% of our energy on the 1% of who we are, what we look like, what degrees and qualifications we have, etc., etc. Instead of this magnificence that you can feel now. And if you just breathe into that and allow more of that to wake up in your earth, that's why our world is in a mess. We're all focusing on this 1% and stuck in duality consciousness, which is a reflection of most of our world. And it is, you came here, it's in your best interest, and you came here at this powerful time of awakening to step up into 5D and help shift the consciousness of this planet. But it starts with you, not on you bitching about what's going on in the news and worrying about what Putin or Trump or anyone else is doing. You know, everyone's playing their part, and those that are playing their negative part, hopefully they'll get stuck in 3D forever, because we're about to flip really soon. So just breathe. We just need enough more light workers, healers, starseeds, shamans to actually acknowledge the greatness of who they are, and then the world will flip. Awesome. It's gone way too long, but anyway, I thought it would just take a minute or two. Silly me. All right, so now just please bring your awareness into your hands and breathe in. Raise your hands up and breathe out and tie that energy around the earth. This is the first step of my 5th dimension activation that was given to me in 1997. We've been connecting people to the 5th dimension within their being since the early 2000s. So breathe in, draw all that gorgeous source light from the sun down through your body. Breathe all of that energy into your 100 trillion cells and your 100 trillion telomeres. Take the last 5% down through your feet and through the base of your spine, and tie that energy around the center of Mother Earth. Breathe in and bring the energy from the core of Mother Earth back up. Breathe it out into your body. Take the last 5% up to the sun. Breathe in. Bring all of the energy down from the sun. Breathe it out into your body. Take the last 5% down through your feet and into the core of Mother Earth. Breathe in and bring all the gorgeousness from Earth all the way back up. Breathe out into all the cells of your being. Last 5% up to the sun. And again, breathing in, your breath draws the source light from the sun. Breathe out, it pours into your 100 trillion cells, upgrading them and healing them. And take the last 5% down into Earth. And then breathe in and bring that Earth energy back up with all the minerals and nutrients and everything you need to sustain your physical life here on Earth. Breathe out the last 5% up to the sun. And I want you now to continue that breath while I share with you today's miracle, which is a bit of a continuation on from yesterday's miracle. So I arrived in Queensland at a time where every man and his dog was trying to come to Queensland, because we had the least restrictions, and that just proves the point that COVID cannot exist in above 28-degree temperatures, because it's just a virus. 20 minutes in the heat and it's gone. But anyway, that's a whole other side story. Hundreds of people from Sydney, Melbourne were all trying to come up here, and trying to find somewhere to live was a nightmare. And a lot of people were even just coming from over the border. New South Wales had different restrictions to what we had as well. And so I ended up staying in the Airbnb I landed in, again, proof that it was the best place for me to be, for like 6 months. But come just before December, the family decided they wanted to try their luck at getting $500 a night for the Christmas bookings. And they asked me, could I find somewhere else to live? And I couldn't find anywhere, but what I did find was a house sit for 2.5 weeks or something. It was from the 15th of December to it might have been the 5th of January. So I went just next suburb over, Reedy Creek, and looked after two gorgeous Labradors. And when I came back, I couldn't find anywhere to live. And the gorgeous people where I had been staying in the Airbnb offered me a room in their house, which was a completely different experience to living in their Airbnb. All participants in the house smoked dope, and it was just a nightmare for me. And I was putting tons of protection up and begging God to find me somewhere to live. So, and part of the thing that I was doing at that stage was trying to let go and let God, so to speak, because even though I teach you not to do that, I am still, well, I'm much better now due to some of the things that have happened in the last couple of years, but back then I was like, da-da-da-da. So there was this beautiful place that was on the Currumbin Creek, ran through the house. And it was tiny. It was fully finished and had everything in it. But I had stuff coming from, which would have had to sit in the garage, they were going to give me one garage space, but his mum lived downstairs. There was another person on the property that lived in a little, like granny flat style thing. And this was a tiny little place above it, which would have been stinking hot in summertime. It was extremely expensive for what it was. It was up a flight of 20-odd stairs to get to the top of it. Didn't even have a proper stove in it. It was one bedroom. It's so tiny. It was so ridiculously priced at $500 a week, but I was so over having nowhere to live. And, that I just at this point wanted a place of my own, and I applied for it. I was the first person to meet him there. And I was just trying to let it go and trust that I was going to get this place. And it did have a little plug-in hot plate thing, but that's all. And it was a little tiny, they call it a gully kitchen, but you could barely walk through it. It was so blooming tiny. So, but anyway, I was like, I'm hanging on. I kind of saw this on the Wednesday and hanging on. And come the Monday, he sends me a text going, do you want to come and meet my mum? And then I still hadn't heard anything by lunchtime. And then I wrote to him going, when am I meeting your mum? And he wrote back going, I'm sorry, we found someone else. And I was furious. That I'd been the first person there and that I still didn't get the place. And I was more furious with God, and I was like, God, get your shit together and find me somewhere. So this shows you that sometimes you don't have to be all kind of pro, but I was mad as all hell. And I was like, God, get your shit together and find me somewhere to live because I can't live here any longer. And as much as I was doing all the protection and everything, if you go from not drinking, not smoking, not doing any drugs for 30 years to living in a house where people did all those things, and they yelled and screamed at each other, it was just, oh gosh. I really love them. They're beautiful people, but it was just too much for me. And they're entitled to do anything they want. It just wasn't working for me. So I'm like, God, get your shit together and find me somewhere to live now. And so the very next day, I'm laying in bed meditating. I spent a lot of time in my room at this place. Or in my car going off doing meditations down at a park or something, And and I'm laying in bed meditating. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I can hear my guides and angels going, "Get out of bed and check your messages, Elle." And I'm going, "Oh, I just want to meditate for a bit longer." "No, get out of bed and check your messages, Elle." "No, I just want to meditate for a bit longer." "Get out of bed and check your messages, Elle." "Oh, okay, I'll get out of bed and check my messages." So I get out of bed, check my messages. And there's a message from the lovely owners. They're lovely people. I just want to point that out. They're lovely people. It just wasn't my kind of energy. And the hubby had sent a copy of a place that was for rent to his lovely wife, and she'd sent the text on to me at like about 6 o'clock. He'd sent it at 4 in the morning. She sent it to me at 6 in the morning. And it's an advertisement for a 2-bedroom place, separated from the main part of the house, the front and backyard, small pets considered. It was still in Bonogin too, which was excellent, and it was only $300 a week. Excuse me, sorry, I should have muted that. Got a tickle in my throat. Anyway, so, but there was some, and this is just that thing that I've mentioned before about when something is meant to be yours, it won't be taken away from you. Because the next hurdle that I had was, one, I wasn't friends with the woman or anyone who was advertising it. 2, it was advertised on 2 Facebook groups, one kind of spiritual women's group, and another, like, I think it was on the, maybe it was on the Bonogin community page or the Mudgebar community page, of which might have been the Mudgebar community page, of which I was not a member of either of those. So my only option was to write to her, and of course that was going to message requests, and I knew she'd be getting hundreds of, at $300, which was ridiculous. You know, for a small place, $300 is expensive, but there was people charging like $500 for a granny flat, and still are, which is ridiculous. Because in between that time, also, they'd had tons and tons of rain, and there was mudslides in Mudgebar, and there's a whole pile of homeless people from that as well. So housing was just so short, and people were just taking advantage of it. And so I write to her. I applied to get accepted into both of those groups because I couldn't leave a comment on them until I did. I also then wrote a note. In one of the messages she said, "I would really love to find someone spiritual, but I'll settle for someone who's kind." And I was like, "Oh, that's me, you know, this has got to be my thing." And so, and I sent these long messages with all of my testimonials and all of the testimonials from when I was a house sitter and how well I'd kept people's homes and blah, blah, blah. And I still, so I'm on to it. All of that takes me to about 10 o'clock, but I'm still not a member of the groups or anything. And eventually I get accepted into the groups around lunchtime, 12 o'clock. And I could already see by the time that happened, there was like, you know, heaps and heaps, like 50-odd people had applied for it. And then as soon as I got onto the groups, I sent her another message saying, "I've sent you a message request and a friend request, so hopefully you'll get mine. I'm a spiritual teacher. I've been living in an Airbnb for 7 months. I've got references. I would love to come look at your home." And at the same time that this is going on, my beautiful man that we've spoken about before, Mystery Bay Removals, Mick from Mystery Bay Removals, is ringing me going, "Elle, I'm going to get there a day earlier. Where am I taking you to?" I said, "Well, at this point, it'll be Bonogin or Bonogin." Because that was the other thing, trying to get storage to put your stuff in anywhere. All the storage places were full because of the floods and God knows what else. And so, and they too had like doubled their prices, you know, for the tiniest shed. And I only had like 5 boxes. So the lovely people are staying with said, "You can put your 5 boxes in our shed, Elle, if you want to." So that was that problem solved, but I still would have had to pay someone to bring it to wherever I was going. So I said to God, I want this place today. I want this place so I don't have to move that stuff twice. And so it's like 10, 11 in the morning, Mick rings me and goes, so Elle, where are we going? I said, well, it'll be Bonogin, and I'll let you know later today. And so eventually Myra writes back and says to me, if you can get here by 2:30, because she had other people coming. I'd already taken money out of my bank account because I was so determined I was going to get somewhere. And I walked in and it was daggy as anything. It's still daggy as anything. But I know that I could make a home. I could fill it with love. It was more that out of every window I could see trees and I could hear birds. And it was just far enough out of what I call Crazyville, 5 minutes away from to go down to Mudgebar to the shops, but kind of up on a bit of a hill. So we've been flooded only once, but not as bad as people down the hill that have, been flooded up to 2 feet of water in their kitchen or whatever. So anyway, and it's a bit of a goat track to get up here, and that's been a bit challenging at different times when the rains come in. But basically I was the first one here and I gave her 2 weeks rent, and she was actually texting people, and someone actually pulled up and she said, I'm sorry, it's gone, while I was actually there. And it didn't matter to me that it was old because I knew I could fill it with source light. And Mick then arrived because he was originally going to drop it off on Wednesday morning, but he rang me Tuesday morning and said, I think I'll be there today, Elle. And so he arrived about 2 hours after, so I'd left my stuff in New South Wales. He arrived 2 hours after I arrived here and took this place. And so, but this is the bit that I really wanted to tell you, okay, to share how important it is that you realise that you're always being looked after. I was furious that I didn't get the other place, and it was a much nicer place. It was really lovely. But it did not have aircon, and it was on top of a place, and it would have been, and it had lots of trees over it. So it would have been still stinking hot in summertime and freezing cold in wintertime. But I didn't get it. But since then, since I've been here 2 years. Oh, it's been gone. On the 16th of January, I'd been here 2 years. And that Currumbin River has flooded at least 3 times. And one of them was so huge. And like the guy said it used to flood twice a year when they weren't even big floods and he'd have to bring in your bread and milk. These were massive, massive floods where we had like a whole metre of rain, which is 40 inches of rain. And at one point we'd had like 80 inches of rain in 10 days or something, and trees were just falling out of the ground because there was no, there was no dirt. It was soggy and they were just falling out of the ground. It was so horrendous. The rain had been so horrendous and the floods had been so extensive. And if I had been living in that house, all the stuff my stuff that was in the garage would have been, covered in mud from the Currumbin Creek flooding. And 2, I probably would have been out of somewhere to live because the people below would have been completely flooded as well. So sometimes looking back, you don't actually realise that there's a gift in it. And also too, because here, although there's quite a number of people live on the property, it's one great big long house. And so I'm at one end and my landlord and a hubby are at the other end, and then there's someone who lives in a granny flat out the back who I've seen probably 2 or 3 times in the 2 years I've lived here. And most of the time, I just see and hear birds and trees and peace, and it's everything I wanted. And it's everything I'd still like to have, actually. So as I'm looking to move and find somewhere else to live. So, I just wanted to share that with you. Miracles, when we ask for them sometimes, they're upgraded. I mean, I ended up having 2 rooms that I never needed. And Has a lovely sunroom out the back, and Mara had said that I was welcome to get, a cat if I wanted one, and I ended up with two. So yeah, it's sometimes you get what you need, not necessarily just what you want. And this has been heaps and heaps better than what it would have been living in that poky little place where I wouldn't have had any outside area to go and stand in the sun if I wanted to, or if I could have, I would have had people watching me if I did. So just breathe for me. So that's our Miracle 49 done and dusted. Just to breathe into your being. See if you can feel the magnificence of who you truly are underneath all of the stories. And if not, we strongly recommend that you connect to the fifth dimension daily. And that's best done standing barefoot on Mother Earth, but if you can't, you can imagine that you're standing barefoot on Mother Earth and it will have the same effect. And I will be running a beta course for my fifth dimension activator training. So if you'd like to become a powerful fifth dimension activator and learn the truth of the fifth dimension, which is not that a spaceship is going to come and take you away, that it will be the awakening of all of your fifth dimension qualities and gifts, spiritual gifts, talents and abilities, connecting to your 5D and above guidance, higher guidance like higher self, spirit guides and angels. We will be commencing on the 4th of March Australian time, 3rd of March USA time, and if you want more information, please contact me through my website www.elmaraseraphim.com, and we'll have a free discovery session and see if this is the right next step for you. So just breathe. I hope you can hear those lovely birds. I think they're squawking and fighting. I'm just going to give you a 1-minute blast of fifth dimension energy before we wrap this up for today. So remember, ask for what you want and let it go. And that's why you say, may this or something better happen for me now in the highest good of all. And sometimes you don't even have to say that, and it happens anyway. When you hang out with spirit, as long as I have, they just upgrade you when they need to anyway. Breathe. All right, my gorgeous beings of light, I love you, love you, love you. Sending you so much love and blessings and wishing you a truly blessed day, and I look forward to being with you again tomorrow. Bye for now.